What's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to download and install R and RStudio on your machine. So let's begin with R. To download R, we need to go to this site over here which is www.rproject.org, and you can see there's a download link over here. So just go ahead and click on this link, and it should redirect you to this page which has a lot of links, and depending on your location just click on the link which is the closest to you. If I just go ahead and click on this, it's going to be give me the option of choosing my operating system. So basically there are three options. So this is for Linux, Mac and Windows. So depending on your operating system, just just download whichever version is good for you. And the next thing, this is what you want to do to install R for the first time. Yes, I'm going to install R for the first time. Now if you click on this link, your download for R should start. And yeah, it began over here. Next, what we're going to see is how to download and install RStudio. So to install RStudio, we need to go to this website called www.rstudio.com. And if you just scroll over here, you can see that there's a download link, and just go ahead and click on this, and it will give you different options to download RStudio. So there are a couple of free options, and there are three paid options. So I'm just going to download the free version for now, and just click over here. And yeah, again, depending on your operating system, whichever operating system you're using, just download that installer for it. And yeah, that's it. That's how you download R and RStudio. So after you have installed R and RStudio, just go ahead and open R. So if you open R, you can see that it has somewhat like a GUI interface, and looks like command prompt. You can do your programming in this, but I would suggest that you use RStudio instead, because it has a better interface, better looking interface. And yeah, this is how our RStudio looks like, and it is divided into four different panes. And so this is the first pane, which is also called as the source editor, and this is where you can edit your programs. So you can just type in over here anything, and you can just edit over here. This is the console, and this is where your environment variables are saved. So, and this is called as the workspace. So all your variables whichever you have created in your source editor are saved over here. And so these are the variables which I have created. So that's why they're being reflected over here. The next thing over here which is good is the history. So like if it saves all the commands which you have written and when you have written. So for example, if this is the command and I want it on my console, so I can just double click on it and I can get it on my console. I can do it in, if I just clear this, and if I just click over here, I select this and click over here, again it does the same thing. If I want it on my source editor, I can just click this option. So this is a pretty cool feature of R. Just clear this. Next is files. So files are very important as they show the working directory as to in for which directory we are working currently in. And there are options over here in which we can change our working directory. So like go to working directory. So if I click on this, I would be taken to my working directory. So I was currently in my working directory, so it didn't take me anywhere. But if I want, I'm over here. So if I want to make this as my working directory, there's an option set as working directory. I'm not going to set this as my working directory, so I just go back. So if I want to go back, I can click this, or there's a home button over here. So if I just click this home button over here, it takes me back to my working directory. Next thing is plots. So if I make any plot over here and if I want to visualize, all the visualization happens over here. I can visualize my plots in these areas. And this is a plot which I had currently made. The next thing is package. Packages are bundles of function, and each function does something for you. So packages are quite important. We can see one such package is cluster. So cluster, what it does is that it finds groups in your data. So you can see the description and what all functions are there in this package. So it's quite good. The next is the help panel. Now help is inbuilt in RStudio, and just go ahead and click help over here, and you want to know something about a function. So you can just go ahead and type this. So there's a function called as sum, and you want to know something about sum, so just type sum over there and press enter, and it would give you the detailed description of what sum is, what it does, what are the arguments which it takes, and it also gives you examples. So this is a very good feature of R. So talking about R and RStudio, what is the difference between R and RStudio? Well, R is a programming language, more like a functional language, not a programming language, because it is just like maths. Like you give it input, it performs some tasks on it, and it provides you with the output. So that's what functions do. You give some input to the function, you perform some calculations on them, and you give the output. And even R does the same thing. On the other hand, RStudio is an IDE, that is a development environment for R, where you can perform your R calculations. So let's just dive in a bit deeper and see some calculations in R. So I've written over here some code over here, and we'll go through each code, each line one by one. So if I want to add two numbers in R, that is 2 plus 3, I can do that easily by just writing 2 plus 3 and hitting this button over here. So that's for run. I do that and I get 5. So I can do this using my keyboard also, like if I press Ctrl R. So it does the same thing. Now if I want to assign this value to a variable, I can just put an equal to sign and give the value, and that would assign it. And if I just come to console and type A and press enter, it gives out 5. Now it is important to note here that there are two different assignment operators in R. So this is the normal equal operators which we use in every language, and this is something which is exclusively used in R, and it looks something like an arrow, and you can do this by either input by clicking on alt and the minus sign at the same time. So if you just click on that, like alt and minus, you get this operator over here. So you can do that, and it basically does the same thing. It's for assignment operator. We'll discuss about what's the difference between both these operators, but it's too early to discuss on them right now. Again, as I told you, R is a functional language, so there are a lot of functions which are predefined. So one example of this is sum, which we just saw. So how this works is that we give it two parameters, the parameters which we want to add. So for example, if I want to add 2 and 4, so I pass two parameters, that is 2 and 4 in sum. If I just hit run, I get the answer. Next thing, if I want to assign string variables to strings to a variable, I can do this. I can do it in the same way. So if I just run this code over here and I type in hello, it just prints the value which is there in the variable. If I want to get the length of this variable, there is a command called length, but we'll discuss about length in further videos. But if you want to know the length of hello, you can just type nchar. Oh, well, hello. You deleted it by mistake. You type in nchar and then run. So you'll get the number of characters which are there. Now, if you type in length, NGT and hello, and you just run this, you get this length as 1. This is because this is one vector, and this hello string contains only one vector, which is this string over here, and that's why we get the length of hello as 1, whereas nchar is 12. So this is a very important feature of R. Just keep it in mind. If you want to know more about this length and nchar, there you can always put it in help. So you can just put length and you can just search over here. So just read over here, so you'll get a proper understanding of what length is and what nchar does. So the important thing over here to understand is that vector, this is a vector, and vectors are the simplest structure in R. So let's just go through in let's just see vectors in some more detail. So if you see this C over here, C function which I've created over here, so this is basically something which combines vector. just put C. So it combines values into a vector and a list. So what it does, is it takes this 1, 2, and 3. It combines these three and it makes them a vector. So now if I print out vector 1, Control R, I get the vector 1, 2, and 3. Now I can plot these vector values also. So I make a new variable called as cars, and I combine 6 vectors over here and I try to plot them. I guess it's 5. Yeah, I combine these five numbers together and I plot them. So I'll get a plot which will be displayed over here. So in this way you can plot any plot. Wow. Now calculating mean, max, and min. So we can calculate all these because there are by the inbuilt functions which are there in R already. So I make a new variable x and I make it a vector and I combine it with 6 values. So 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 5, and I just run this. Okay, and I need to calculate the mean, max, and min, and there it is. The mean is 3.3, max is 5, and min is 2. So 2 is the minimum, yes, that's right. 5 is the max, yes, and min must be right, yeah. Okay, so now in R there is a variable called as NA, data type NA. There is something called as NA. So what this NA is basically, it says that I don't know. Yeah, so NA is something which says that I don't know the value of what it is. So if you were to calculate the mean of x1, which is again a variable, which is a combination of these numbers, and you have made it a vector, and you want to calculate the mean, max, and min of that, how would you do that? Yeah, you can use the inbuilt function, but what do you think would be the answer? So if we just go ahead and run this, everything is NA, and that is but obvious because we don't know the value of this number, so we don't know that what the mean will be, or the max will be, or the minimum would be, and so that's why it outputs NA. So how do you deal with this problem? Now there is something called as na.rm, so which basically means that you don't want NA to be considered while you're calculating the mean. Now if you just take an example of x1 again, and if you just run it, so this mean, you just, okay, where is help? You just go over here, you can see over here that the mean takes another value called na.rm. So if you just do na.rm, that is remove na while you're calculating mean, and you calculate the mean again, so instead of na, what you would get is the mean, the max, and the mean. That, why is this mean? Min. Okay, sorry for the error. Yeah, so that is the minimum. So this was quite basic. Like if you want everything at once, so there is a function called as summary in R, and what it does is that it calculates min, max, and minimum, all the functions. I'll just show you. If I just run this again, summary of X. So what it does is that it calculates minimum, first quadrant, median, mean, third quadrant, and max all at once. And this is done by just calling summary. And you can search for this function in the help menu. The next thing which we're going to see is remove. So I made a variable over here called y, and you can see this over here. Now I don't want this variable in my workspace. If I want to remove this, I can just type in rm and the variable which I want to remove. So if I just do run, you can see that the variable which was over here just disappeared. Next is how to sum two vectors. Now if you see over here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 values in the first vector and 4 values in, let's just make this 3, and 3 values in the next vector. So if I try to sum these values, if I try to sum these values using the inbuilt function r, Let's see what I get. Oh, it just added all the numbers over here and it gave me the sum which is equal to 29. Okay, what if I want to add it like this? So using the plus operator, what will I get then? Okay, so what it did over here was it added 2 plus 1, it gave 3. 3 plus 3, 6. 5 plus 5, 10. Now this vector over here, it had 6, um, the length was 6 of this, but the length of the other variable was only 3. So these parameters did not have anything to be added with. So it rounded, it looped around again. So this 4 was added to 1, which gave 5, 3 to 2, which gave 5, and 5 to 4, which gave 9. Now the thing is, if I add one more parameter, one more value over here, which is 4, and I try to run this again. Okay, now x1 and x2 is this, and I again add it, I would get a warning message which says that longer object length is not a multiple of the shorter object length. This is a bit difficult to understand at first, but what it has done is that after the first are over, it again loops back to 2. So what R does is that without your knowledge, it performs some additions, and so it is always better to use the help function while calling functions or when you're programming in R. Another thing which we should keep in mind that the variables which we use over here are case sensitive. So a small a and a capital A in R both mean different things. And to summarize, data types which are very important, NA, which means I don't know. And yeah, if you want any help, so I use the combine function just now. So if I want to call the combine function from this window over here, I can just call help and the name of the function, and if I hit run, I go to the help window. I can do this also. This is a shorter version of this command. Again, it does the same thing. And if I want to see examples of combine, how to combine, I can just do this and it will show me examples which are down. Yeah, and these examples which are here, you can see it over here. And again, help.start, it will take you to the home page of help command. And yeah, that would be it. Post any questions in the comment section below if you have, and thank you for watching this video.